now I'd like a couple of volunteers to tell me, let's start with the no's. If you are not looking to leverage social media and technology, why not? Because I would really like to hear, I think I know a few reasons. I've heard a lot, actually, over the last few years. Why don't you want to use social media or technology? What's your impression of it? Impersonal, okay. Heard that before. Anyone else?
Childish waste of time.
Waste of time, childish waste of time, great. Keep them coming, be brutal. Anybody else? You can just yell them out. Don't know what to do, okay. That, what? Okay, targeting the same group of people. Okay.
Facebook is a time-sucking black hole.
Time-sucking black hole. I've heard that before, once or twice. So for those of you who do want to leverage technology and you haven't been, why not? What's holding you back?
Skills.
Skills, okay.
Fear.
Fear, okay. Fear of technology. So my talk is going to be similar to what Arts does. Instead of telling you what to think, I want to introduce some things to think about as it relates to social media and technology. He mentioned that there's a ton of training out there that'll tell you how to get more likes or how to get more engagement or how to use Facebook ads. And I want to focus instead on expanding your idea of what social media can do for your business, how you can use it, how you can connect and make it very personal. So the first thing that I want to do is sort of turn on the ear. How many of you think that social media is a place for you to broadcast yourself, your business, what you had for breakfast? And that's kind of how you look at social media? Is it's all about talking? Anyone? So I want to propose to you that social media and technology can be incredibly effective listening tools. So the first thing that you want to do when you start thinking about social media is change how you're thinking about social media. That it isn't just like we've heard a number of people talk the last few days about the importance of listening, the importance of caring, the importance of understanding what your prospect is going through, knowing what their dreams are, knowing what their pain points are. You can learn a lot in a very short period of time by looking at somebody's Facebook wall. And when you do that, that gives you a place to start a conversation. And so your invitation to somebody, instead of being all about you, all about your company, all about your products, can start with them right from the very first conversation. And it shifts the way that the conversation feels. So that's the first thing I want to introduce is maybe instead of looking at social media as a place to talk and tell your story, you can look at it as a place to start to hear somebody else's story and start to look for places where you have commonalities, start to look for places where they're experiencing challenges that you may have a product, a service that you can reach out and help them. So the second thing that has been incredibly effective, and honestly, you guys, it was an accident. I didn't mean to do this, but it has been an insanely effective, what we call crowdsourcing tool in my business. Do you guys know what crowdsourcing means? Yes, no? You heard what that is? Okay. So there's a couple of things that have happened. I started a group. It's now not just my team. It's about 8,000 consultants in my company from all different teams, all different sidelines. And it has built an incredible community. And it's basically a 24/7 ongoing online meeting and resource, live resource, where people can go and ask questions or provide feedback or make connections, get courage to make their calls. And we have a number of people that will get on in the morning and say, hey, I'm gonna do my 3 asks a day. Who wants to jump in with me? I'm starting at 10 o'clock. And then there's a ripple effect because people jump in and they do that. And so both from a community standpoint and from a resource standpoint, it has been a really great tool. The thing that I think we didn't really mean to do, but it turned out really well, and now I recognize the value, and I think it's insanely important to do it intentionally, is to set the culture for a group. Because I see other groups, and I see why people feel like it's a waste of time and it's frustrating, and there's a lot of negativity and there's a lot of complaining, or maybe things that are inappropriate. We don't have any of that in our group. With 8,000 people, we go through on a daily basis and we delete things that are non-compliant, could potentially get the company in trouble with the FDA, those sorts of things. We educate people about what those are and how to represent them, so that people can see on a daily basis what good social media posting looks like and feels like. And one of those things that's just, this is going back to Wes's tips, a tip that you can use, is that we all know that we have to be very careful, and we've seen some companies get into trouble, to directly connect your product to, say, a medical condition. But what you can do through social media and technology, you can do it through emails, you can do it through videos, webinars, is that you can point to a third-party reference. So technology is an incredible way to connect people with information. We have other groups outside the consultant group that I was talking about that are specifically for people who are interested in learning clean eating, because that's kind of what my focus is from a product standpoint. And instead of saying, we have this product that will solve this problem that you have, we can post articles that have been written by doctors, by the Mayo Clinic, by somebody that's not us, that says, if you take this supplement, there are these kind of benefits. And then you can say, oh, by the way, we have this supplement, it's really good. And so it allows sort of a layer in between your direct connection to keep you really in compliance with what the FDA, Health Canada, whatever the regulating bodies are, but still allow you to really help solve those challenges for the people who are suffering. So the other thing that technology is great for, Wes talked about the fact that when advertising came out, they knew that you had to watch an ad at least 7 times before you would go out and buy a product or a service. And another statistic that I've heard regularly is that 95% of network marketers only contact somebody 1 time. So there's obviously a huge discrepancy between the number of contacts that people make when they're responsible for follow-up and the number that we know is effective at being able to connect people to a new product, service, or brand. So the other thing that's really good with social media is that it gives you multiple touch points that don't have to be direct. In fact, going on the line of, what I don't recommend that you post your product, your company, join my team. It's not, people don't connect with that. If you think about what you want to post, ask yourself whether or not you would be attracted to it if somebody else posted it. So I don't recommend posting directly, but what you can do is have 7 to 12 connections with somebody through email, through personal contact, through a message on their walls, through liking their posts. So again, get out of the mindset of what am I saying and get into the mindset of how am I listening. Commenting on somebody else's post is usually a better way to develop a personal connection and relationship, because it shows that you're watching what they're doing. You're connecting with what they have to say. And so that's another way that you can really use it. And I've done all the trainings, I've done all the likes, I've done all the engagement. I could give you some tips. The most obvious one is just look at your wall, look at what you post and look at what people respond to, and you'll find out what's effective and what's not effective. But I really think that social media is much more powerful as an extension of you. It's an opportunity for you to share why you love what you love. And so, has anybody heard of Simon Sinek? Do you guys know? Okay. So that's one of my favorite TED Talks out there, is Simon Sinek talks about the fact that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do what you do. And this is not the why of, I want to go on a cruise every year, so I want to make more money. This is the why of why your company, why your products, what do you care about your product or service that you know in your heart is valuable to the people that you're talking to? And how can you connect with them with that passion? So for me, on my Facebook wall, if you go look, you may or may not be able to tell what company I work with, depending on the day. Occasionally I'll post something if it's relevant, but most of the time I post clean eating recipes. They don't have anything to do with my direct product, but for people who are looking to find a path to better health, for people who know, as most of us do, I know I'm not eating the right things, I know I don't feel as good as I could feel, I want to make a change, but I don't know how to make a change. They see those recipes, they see the simplicity, and they feel connected to that. They feel drawn to that, they want to do that. And that gives me an opportunity to start a conversation. Again, it's about them. It's about what they're interested in, it's about what they want. And Art does that in a fantastic way about the business side of things. So you can do it with the business, you can do it with your products, but if you sort of add that third layer in there, a little bit of subtlety, that's, I think, what's really effective. So the other thing that technology can allow you to do is it can expand your reach. And this, for me, gets a little bit personal, and I'm not going to share my story because I've heard them say we're not sharing stories. But what I will tell you is that for me, my journey into looking at technology was out of necessity. I have had some health concerns that made it very difficult for me to have the level of energy and consistency that I needed to have to build my business. And the incredible blessing that has come into my life as a leader since then is that there are so many people, you guys. There are so many people who are smart and savvy and capable, and they may have a special needs child, or maybe they have their own health concerns, or maybe they're an introvert, which, by the way, if you hear the shaking in my voice, that's because I'm an introvert. So the 2 or 3 people that raised their hand the other day, when he said, how many of you are ingoing? I was one of those. And so technology can expand your reach. It can expand the people who are attracted to this level of business, who are totally capable of building an incredible network, but who aren't natural networkers. And you can absolutely develop personal relationships. Some of my best friends, and I mean, heart-to-heart close friends that I know their story, they know my story. Now we've met in person, but we didn't meet in person. We didn't meet in person for months or maybe even a year or 2 after we connected online. So when people talk about this as a belly-to-belly business, or you have to do this business in person, most of the people that follow my training, at least 90%, maybe 95%, primarily work their business in person, and they're using technology as a way to leverage that extra 10 to 20% of productivity, to stay in contact, to stay connected, to not lose connection, to get to know people faster, easier. But there's a handful of people out there, like me, who needed to be able to work their business almost entirely online, and have been able to successfully do that to the level of getting their car. So it can be done to be able to connect with people, and I think what's important is how you do it. So you choose to be intentional about developing personal relationships. You choose to only delegate to technology what you don't need to do. And when you delegate to technology, things that are repetitive, things that aren't personal, because people do need information and they need training videos, and they, that 90% that's not you, it frees you up to spend that 10%, the artwork of really connecting with people, encouraging them, finding out their story, figuring out what kind of development they need. You're much more free to do that when the things that are repetitive can be delegated to technology. So we talked again about, obviously one of the things that Facebook is, it is your living, breathing business card. So it is your opportunity as well to show who you are and to establish the know you, like you, trust you. And so it's really important when you think about what you post, assume that the people that see it are people who may want to go into business with you. Assume that they are people who may have a need for your products or services, And the what not to post is your dirty laundry. Don't post about the negative stuff of your neighbors next door. You know, we all have good and bad in every day. Post the things that are positive, post the things that matter, post the things that are uplifting, the things that you're grateful for, and leave the rest of it to private conversations.